we're just gonna get into the shit. Alright, guys. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Christopher Lopez. I'm a photographer from Minneapolis. Right off the bat, this video is going to be about things that I wish I knew going into the creative space, and I guess you could say what I have learned as, I'm not saying I'm insanely successful or anything like that, but I've done some numbers with my photography. I've gotten into some rooms. I've met some really cool people. I think so far I've somewhat succeeded in my field of work. And these are all the things that I wish, not everything. I'm obviously still missing stuff and I'm not as organized as I want it to be. But these are a lot of things that I wish people would have told me about entering the creative space and like how to make better progress. So I'm gonna go off the bullet points that I have here. Creativity. What is creativity? I view creativity as like two different things. I view creativity as your inner personality, right? And then on the outside, it's like the technical side of it, what you use and the tools you use to make it actually happen and like become something tangible, if that makes sense. So creativity I view as more of like personality traits and like what you wish existed in the world. And so I'm not too sure if you can necessarily teach that. I think that's something that you have to just go out and learn and experience and think about what you wish existed, in a sense. Like majority of the time when I work on anything, it's just because I wish that was a thing already. I wish it existed already. And so where you need to learn to bridge the gap is the technical side. And a lot of people don't realize that, like, that quote of hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work very hard is a real thing. Because I've been in this space I started taking creativity and like photography and all that more seriously at around the age of 17. I'm 23 right now, so I'm like 6 years in. And I've seen a lot of people who are very, very creative not even try, and it's really sad to see basically wasted potential because they're not learning the skill sets that they should in order to progress in their specific creative element or whatever the fuck. Like me, I'm a photographer. I realize that if I want to be a good photographer and good at taking photos, I need to learn how to use cameras. I need to learn how to just take photos. You know what I'm saying? It's a skill that you can develop, right? Like the vision I have is only so big. It doesn't fucking exist unless I actively try to make it tangible, if that makes sense. Sit with yourself as like a creative person and think like, what skill sets do I need to learn in order to take the vision that I have in my brain and make it something? I can only speak like as a photographer, the skills that I would need to learn and things in that area, but it all kind of fits into like these rubrics, and that's actually what I'm going to keep talking about now within these next sections. So yeah, there's the creative side of being creative, and then there's the technical side of like making it tangible. This one is like the ladder method, or what most people would call reverse engineering. You start with the end result, and that's usually what I do. This is like some of my creative processes or whatever. And that's another piece, like sitting with yourself and learning your own creative process is going to be important with this. Like I've met so many people who don't even know how to work with themselves on their own and understand their own flow states or whatever the fuck to like, I guess, make stuff happen. Like for example, my creative process for this video was like, I'm just thinking of everything that I could think of that took me to like the next level or whatever, and I just talked onto my phone, cleaned it up on my notes, and then I was like, okay, now I have a script. Now I can take my video and now I can make it, right? And so the ladder method is like taking the last piece of what you actually want to exist and working backwards. And then now when you're at the base that you're at right now, when you want to be here, what's the next step right there? The next step right there, the next step right there, the next step right there. And then eventually just climb the ladder until you're exactly where you want to be. Next one, I call this the seed method, like seed, like a plant. I don't know if anybody else has figured this out yet, but this works for me. And this is about, it's technically the same thing, except I kind of tailor it more to skill sets and skills that I would need to develop. For example, I start with the base skill set of a skill, and I work my way up. And it's kind of like, for example, with photography. I'm gonna keep using photography as an example because that's what I'm good at. I want to be able to take good photos, right? But in order to be able to do that, I need to learn how to use a camera. And then in order to learn how to use a camera, I need to learn how to turn it on. I need to learn how to actually attach the lens. Like that's the things that I'm talking about. It's like you start with the simple things of how to master it at its little core of what it is, like turning on the camera, then figuring out how to use the lens, then figuring out how to zoom in and, you know, look through your photos, add exposure, things like that. Like you start with the base things, and then eventually you have the whole tool, the whole skill of using a camera. This kind of comes after the seed method, but it's like the tool belt method. The tool belt method is like when you think of, like, let's say a construction worker, because I'm in construction, this is something that I can use. Specific tradesmen, they use specific tools in their tool belt when they're using when they're in a specific trade. Like a plumber is not going to have the same tools as an electrician, you know what I mean? But on their tool belt, it's still a tool belt. He has each specific tool that he uses for each different task that he's doing, but at the end of the day, his entire tool belt is what makes him that specific tradesman. And so for me, like with photography, I have to have my camera, I have to have my laptop, I have to have my computer, I have to use all these things. So I pay attention to all the skill sets that it's gonna take on the tool belt to be able to say that I'm a photographer, you know. And that would include obviously knowing how to use my camera, knowing how to use my laptop, knowing how to export, knowing how to like send it to clients, having the connections for like a studio, having the connections to even find clients in the first place. And all those combined are what is going to make me a photographer. And like I said, each one of those things that are on the tool belt, they are like, you can each learn the tiny skill sets that it takes and then branch off, like the seed method that I was talking about earlier. Sorry, my notes are really all over the place. Okay, so this next part is, like I said, this is going to be tailored to more creative people in the first place, but I think, and this is something I kind of had to learn the hard way because it took me so long, and I wish I would have learned this sooner, but everything that you do is going to be your own aesthetic. And if you build enough of that at all, it'll become your catalog and your style. So you shouldn't have to worry about, like, don't worry about not fitting in, because that's what's gonna like set you apart in the first place. I view it as like, as, let's say you want to get invited to sit at the table. What is the point of sitting at the table if you're just like the guy next to you? Then they would be able to just swap you out and nobody would even notice that you were gone. And so what a lot of people don't realize is that, like, everything you do, as long as you just put something out, you make something and just post it, or post it on YouTube, or I don't know, make a fucking billboard or whatever, it's still your style, it's still you. And like I said, if you just put enough out of it, like, something will stick. Like, first of all, that's another piece of it. It's like, something will stick, you will get lucky eventually, something will hit, you will meet the right person that could change your life for that. So yeah, just like do anything. And oh my God, I don't know if I'm even saying this shit right. I'm just kind of rambling, but I got this from like a Virgil Abloh video. I can see if I can find the link to it or something and maybe I can put it in. But he was talking about how you take like a crushed up can and you leave it in a garage. It looks like trash. But if you take it to a museum and you put it on the floor, people are like, oh wow, this is a piece of art. And like I said, it's just one of those things. It's like, you can either design the piece or design the space around it. And that's what I'm saying. If you just keep putting enough of those pieces out there, you will create your aesthetic. You will create your space. You will create your museum. And I don't think people understand that enough. I don't think people pay attention to it enough. I don't think they have enough self-confidence in themselves to even try hard enough. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, if you just put enough of it out, and this is something, I'll say I had to learn this the hard way again. I met somebody that could have changed my life had I had enough work out, and had I had enough preparation to be able to come correct with the conversation and say, hey, I'm in the creative space, like, I want to be mentored by you or anything like that. A lot of people don't pay attention to that. Luck is just preparation meets opportunity. You know, if I would have just taken all the preparation that I had done the last like 5 years before that and said, hey, I see that you're this person, can you help me out with this, or whatever the fuck, my life could have changed. But I just wasn't, and that's something that I had to learn the hard way, and I don't want people to deal with that as well. So yeah, everything that you do is going to be your aesthetic. Everything that you put out, something will stick. Just keep putting shit out. Eventually something's going to hit, and when you have all that in your catalog, people are going to fuck with it. The next one, networking. I see a lot of this with people that should not be networking in the first place. People say your network is your net worth. I agree to an extent. What I do not agree with is not putting any work into yourself first and foremost and expecting networking to bridge the gap into your new life or your new, I don't know, creative space or whatever the fuck you're trying to do. It's like, if you're just not doing anything and this other person's not doing anything and you guys are not doing anything together, you're not networking. You're just two losers hanging out, and it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, I've been in spaces where I've been meeting people and they ask me, what do you do? And I can confidently say, like, I'm a photographer. Like, if you ever want to work on something, we can work on it together. But what I'm not a fan of is this whole, like, oh, we should network, we should lock something in, and they're not doing anything with their fucking time. That doesn't make any sense. And that's something that I was very self-conscious of at such a young age. Was like, I wanted to learn from people and I wanted to work with people, but I knew that I needed to work on myself first and foremost. I needed to build my skill sets. I needed to just become somebody first before it was like, hey, I can just show up for you and work for you and make something happen for you, because that doesn't make any fucking sense. That I would just be kind of leeching at that point. And that's not something you want to do. So that's kind of going to go into my next part, is like, approach situations with love and respect and admiration, and you will go a lot farther. Because at the end of the day, like, networking is a huge part of making progress in life and all that. But like, if you just show up like, I'm just going to use this person, I'm going to take what I want and then just dip. Nah, bro, you're going to fuck yourself over. Like, you really should be approaching situations with wanting to work with someone because you are a fan of what they do. You respect them, you want to learn from them, you want to benefit them, and people will see that. Like, I am in where I'm at right now. If a kid who was like my age when I started wanted to learn something from me, I'd be so willing to help him, because I didn't have that at his age, but only if I felt like he actually cared about the situation and wasn't just trying to do it to get some clout or some shit like that. And yeah, it's just approach situations with love and respect and admiration, and you'll go so much farther. It's all pretty much the same. It's just being a good person to work with, being a good time to be around, because try to be like, sometimes when you're working on projects together, things can get difficult. Just be a good person, be a good time to be around, and be uplifting, because creatively your mind is going to flourish when your head's in a positive space. And if you can teach yourself how to be in a positive mindset and in that, like, in your glow or whatever, it's not like you're gonna have this cloud on you anymore, and it doesn't give you this fucking brain fog. Like, you can flourish and you can do more when you're feeling happier. I don't know, maybe that's just kind of like some bullshit, but it was in my notes. I guess I spoke to my phone and said that last night. Alright, next part. And this is gonna hurt a lot of people's feelings. It's gonna hurt so many people's feelings. This whole narrative of, like, being a struggling artist pisses me the fuck off. I can't stand this shit. And maybe this is biased opinion, because I grew up working construction, and it was always a really hard job, but it was very, very good money. And I knew that since I wanted to be creative or whatever the fuck, I knew that I needed something that was actually going to pay my bills and be able to give me actual money. Because, like, let's be fucking real, bro. If you're creative, you know people aren't going to be paying money for shit they don't need. They're not going to be paying for your clothes if they don't need it. They're not going to be paying for photos. They're not going to be paying for your painting because it's not a necessity. It's not like food or resources or like a house. It's not the same shit. So, like, this whole narrative of, like, I'm a struggling artist, I'm not making money off my art, it's the only thing I do. You're stupid. You're dumb. Of course you're not making any fucking money. Duh. Nobody's buying your shit. And it pisses me off that people don't think clearly and think, like, if I was this person, would I buy my stuff? Like, no shit. There's better shit you can spend your money on. And so this whole narrative of, like, I'm a struggling artist, it just needs to stop. And you need to stop with this, like, learned helplessness of, like, like, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's learned helplessness. And I think if you really care about your craft and what you're doing, you're going to do whatever you need to do to get there by any means. And if it means getting a 9-to-5 and just cutting back on going out and spending money on alcohol and stop smoking and quit all your bad habits that are, like, causing you to struggle in life, it seems pretty straightforward. Like, one thing that I did was, like, I've been working construction since I was, like, 17, 18 maybe, and I'm 23 now. I obviously don't want to do construction for the rest of my fucking life. That shit sounds miserable, but it's good money. And I'm in no debt. I bought all my cameras. I have my entire, like, I'm literally bought this computer that I'm filming on, this mic, you know, and I wouldn't be able to do that unless I locked in and said, hey, I care about what I want to accomplish. I'm willing to work and sacrifice my time and all these things to be able to make money to invest in myself and actually like not get stuck under that label of a struggling artist. I think that's so stupid. I don't know why you would do that to yourself. So, I mean, I don't know. These are just some points that I was thinking about these past few weeks, and these are some of the things that I wish someone would have told me at a younger age. And I don't know, man, I'm just a 23-year-old kid that takes photos, and I still live with my parents, and I don't make as much money as I want to, but, like, I've been in the game for a minute, and these are the things that I've noticed. So you can take my advice. If not, I personally don't give a fuck. Yeah, anyway, I gotta go to the gym. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.